Hello, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time since the last video was posted, and it happened to be about baking bread rather than making guitars. But I'm glad you've returned. I'm glad to be back. Unfortunately, this is all my schedule will really allow me to do. These videos, maybe I'll get some more uploaded faster in the future, and we'll have more series coming, but this will mark the first video in my Great Guitar Build-Off 2022 Kit Build Competition entry for this year. And what I would like to remind everyone is I am not a professional. I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube on how to do things, and apparently not a whole lot of it has sunk in because there are some mistakes. Mistakes were made. That should probably be the title of this video series, Mistakes Were Made. But what we're going to start with is a Crimson Uncut Multi-Scale Kit. So the body with the cavities routed already, the neck but not carved yet, fretted. It has no fretboard inlay, and it does have side dots, but more on that in a future video. We do some stuff with the neck, but just wanted to welcome everybody back. Thank you for coming back, and I hope you enjoy this video and those to come. There will be a final supercut at the end of this series, so if you just prefer to wait for that, but that would be fine. That way maybe we won't put all of the little mistakes I made. It certainly won't be as boring. There's a lot of sanding, a lot of carving going on in this one. So if that's the sort of thing you enjoy, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here regardless. And I hope you enjoy watching every little thing I do, including the mistakes. And I hope you learn from my mistakes, because apparently I haven't. Anyway, enjoy.
So some specs on the kit that I'm working on here. It is a Crimson Guitars Uncut Multi-Scale Kit. It has a 5mm flamed sycamore top, and then underneath that a 40mm sapele body. The neck is uncarved, and let's see, it has a paddle-shaped reverse headstock, ebony fretboard, and 22 frets. There's obviously no inlay on there on the fretboard. There are side dots. They're 2mm side dots. The fretboard radius is 12 inches. The scale length goes from 27 inches on the bass side to 25.5 inch on the treble side. And let's see, so that ends up being a 26-degree angle at the bridge, with the perpendicular fret being the 7th fret. So what we're looking at here, I'm just going through designing the body shape that I'd like. One thing I've always loved is Les Pauls, and I'm not sure why. I like the roundness of the bottom on them, but it's not exactly the most modern shape. It is classic, but what I wanted to do was kind of modernize it a little bit, but keep that roundness at the bottom of the guitar, and kind of change the way the upper bouts and the horn look. So this is me trying to sketch out what I have in my mind. You can kind of see on the upper bout, there's a line under, or there's a curved line under the curved line at the top of that neck cavity. That bottom curved line is going to be an access, well, not really an access carve, but really a reveal of sapele kind of behind it. I should mention, when I got this kit, I was so excited, and I had this idea for the body that I wanted to get started on the body right away, but I did not have a bandsaw at first. So we're going to start with the body and move on to the neck for the rest of this video. So I skipped a bunch, but the only thing you missed is me kind of honing in a little more on the shape. But obviously, the eraser is the most valuable tool, MVP or MVT, I guess. But what I'm trying to do here, and I can't quite get, you'll see in a little bit, but is I can't get this curve on the top of the body to match the bottom of the body. And so what I end up doing here is taking a sheet of paper and kind of tracing that curve and flipping it over to symmetrically along the center line to see if I can get that curve there. Right now I'm just trying to hone in on that upper bout shape. I'm not liking anything that I'm drawing. It's either not curved enough, or it's not it doesn't go high enough. I can't quite say what exactly I'm looking for, but I know what it looks like in my mind. I do have a sketch you can kind of see there, but here's where I start tracing that curve on that side, and I'm going to flip it over onto the other side. I finally learned something. Or maybe not so much learned, but came up with a better method than just trying to eyeball it. There's nothing wrong with eyeballing. Lots of people are good at it. I am not. And there are probably lots of better ways to do this. If you can think of better ways, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to know, because I've got another few builds lined up, and I would like to reuse this shape. I do like it a lot. At the time of editing here, I've already finished the guitar and I'm using it on a gig, but I do have plans to build more of them, and from scratch. As alluded to earlier, I do have plans to document all my builds moving forward, and hopefully I can get to them a little bit faster than I did this particular video series. And hopefully that'll create more content that I hope everyone will enjoy. Alright, so here we begin the carving of the neck. All I did was mark my line of how far it should be at the 12th fret, another mark at the nut, and now I'm taping a ruler down because I didn't include video of it, though I do have video of it. I was not able to hold the ruler in place while I drew this line that I'm trying to carve. So tape was my solution. Tape. It's great for just about everything. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of start at the 1st fret, and I'm using the facet method that Ben Crow has demonstrated on the Crimson Guitars channel. And that is to simply draw a center line down your neck and then cut that in half to the edge, and we're going to connect that line to the line that I have drawn on the side of the neck. So once I connect that at the 1st fret and then again at the 12th fret, I will connect those two cutouts. Now, I have, a couple weeks ago, actually, from the editing of this video, I returned from England. I went to Crimson for a 6-day course. It was awesome. It was incredible. This is not a paid promotion or anything, but I highly recommend it to anyone who really likes building guitars and wants a unique experience. But this is not the same method that they were teaching while I was there. That was more of a draw your lines, and rather than doing it at the 12th fret, we're just going to go down the entire neck length, like what I would be doing here, if I hadn't already done the 1st and the 12th fret. Also, this is horrible technique. Don't copy this. I mean, it worked, but it should be long, smooth passes rather than trying to like kind of saw away with the Shinto rasp. So again, I'm just connecting the lines from the 1st fret down to the 12th fret and only going up to the lines that I've drawn, and that's creating a facet along one side. When I finish this, I'll switch over and move to the next side. So here you can kind of see we've got that initial first fret and that facet as it or diagonal line now that we've carved into the neck all the way down to the 12th fret. So now it's time to switch sides. I don't really have a good way of clamping the guitar in or the neck in at this point in editing. Since filming this, I've got a number of new tools and other items that go well in the shop. One of which is a bench vise, which the only way to install on this particular bench, which is not a bench, it's just a countertop on top of cabinets with cabinets above. But in order to install it, the only space that I had was at that far end there, beyond me, upside down. So, as I continue to use it, we'll see how well that actually works. But for right now, it's working fine for most of the items that I have to do with it. So again, don't necessarily copy my technique. It is not advisable. Not really sure why I'm continuing to show this. It's really just the same thing as the first side. Now it's just the second side, and we're getting that facet in there. Now, what we do after this is we're going to divide that facet in half and draw a line a little closer to the fretboard from there, and we're going to carve a facet into that facet, thus rounding the side of that the side of the neck there into a, believe it is a C-shaped curve. Now, a lot of this is based on feel. You got to touch the neck, feel if it's smooth, if it has any bumps that are higher than other spots. You're really just trying to get it flat because, like I said, we're going to facet the facet because, yo, dog, I heard you like facets. And that way it's going to soften up. So you can see here, I'm drawing that line to kind of intersect the one facet I've already drawn. And this is the best way I could find to draw a straight line down the side of the fretboard. I tried holding the rule there, but just couldn't manage it. So tape it to the neck and get a real good close-up of my head. Everybody loves that, right? Draw that line. And so now I'm going to do the same technique with that Shinto rasp and just carve from that top line to the bottom line. You can see by doing that, we're now getting closer to a curve, something that we'll be able to take sandpaper to, and you'll see that technique in a little bit, and get that smooth neck feel that you're looking for. Since we're getting close to the end here, I'll remind everyone that I don't really, at the time of doing this, I didn't really know what I was doing. I'd seen a few YouTube videos by Ben Crow, Crimson Guitars, on his technique for this, and just kind of followed that. Since finishing the guitar, I have been to the Crimson facility for a 6-day course and learned the proper way to use these tools. But here you can kind of see the smoothing out of the neck. You can see I'm trying to work in a volute with a curved rasp, or file, really. It's more of a file than a rasp. But it's a little finer, so it takes a little bit more effort and work with it. Now, it took me a while to come up with this headstock shape, and ultimately what I end up with doesn't actually look like what I did here. Although, so here I was like, oh, I've seen lots of people use a jigsaw to cut the headstock out, but I don't think I have very good work holding or clamps or a decent bench for this. So you can kind of see, like, neck really starts bouncing around with that jigsaw blade. So it's just a demonstration of what not to do. So I was like, well, you know what? We'll just power up that bandsaw and we'll use that instead. Don't work harder, work smarter. I think the only reason I wanted to use the jigsaw in the first place was that I didn't feel like setting up the bandsaw. But that's a poor excuse, really. So here, I'm going to mark out or scribe out a curve that I want to cut into this headstock. What I'd like to do, and something I haven't done before, is to laminate another type of wood into or onto the headstock. So I'm using a small gouge here. This is a great angle too. I bet everybody loves these angles. Here, this is a little better. Just to lower this section down a little bit, and the idea is that I'll take a piece of, or an offcut of the flamed sycamore from the top, and inlay it, or laminate it onto this section. Really trying a variety of tools. One thing, it didn't really seem to be working that well for me, so I went with my oscillating tool, which is this thing right here, and one of these, I don't know if it's a carving disc or not, but it doesn't remove too much material too quickly, but it's also not very precise either. So, but for taking off more material faster, certainly does the trick. I think what I was trying to do is just think about all the different tools I have at my disposal and try and pick one that works the best for me. There are lots of ways to approach the different things you'd want to do, and ultimately it's up to you to decide what works best for you. So here I am taking an offcut to the bandsaw, trying to get the that flamed sycamore. Actually, I'm not sure if it's got a little bit of figuring. It's not entirely flamed, but it's decent. It's good quality, of course, and so I want to be able to use it. And this was my idea to use a little bit more of what I had with the kit. So just going to touch it up with a bit of sanding, make sure that I have good surface for adhesion on both sides, the headstock side as well as this piece. Always great to make some marks on it and then not think about it and continue sanding, so then your marks go away. But just put a little bit of wood glue on and press it down, clamp it down, and let it dry. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter that the size doesn't match exactly what I've done for the headstock on the outside. What matters is the inside. I'm here just grabbed a piece of wood as a caul for this because I didn't want to make a dent in that piece that's on the headstock. And that call eventually got stuck to the headstock. This is such a great view, I had to pause it because it's so clear there. How about we try this instead? So now I'll just take it to the belt sander and get that little bit off there. And then use the spindle sander to take off the excess. Now, one thing I didn't anticipate was I probably should have used a smaller spindle on the spindle sander because I wanted to keep those edges sharp, and obviously this rounds them out. So probably should have just unsanded everything. But so what I ended up with was something that I like the shape up from the back. I think it's evocative of a Telecaster headstock, but a little bit more of a modern take on it. I don't know that it necessarily goes well with the body, but that'll be coming up in another video soon. The next steps I'm going to take on this are to stain the bit of sycamore a bit black so I can bring out the figuring, sand it back a little bit, and in the next video we'll see how the staining of that goes, as well as some video on an idea I had for a little better visibility of something that's like side dots, we'll put it that way. So check back soon and we'll have some more content shortly.